Alright, so we're here. One thing I noticed from Saturday's competition was we didn't have a good sense of, once a guard was open, how to pass while they were still moving. So let's say Norm goes to start shrimping his hips and going places and doing things right. Like when guys got to this position, at no point did I feel like we had a good game plan. I felt like we got here and kind of were like panicked, and then would just be like, please close your guard again. That'd be great. I would like to start the engagement. Which is okay sometimes, but we have to be able to be offensive when guys start opening up here. Now obviously, boom, we're here. A lot of people are going to do exactly what Norm's doing, go into this open guard to either a simple scissor sweep, or they're going to start trying to, attack the basic triangle armbar Kimura setups, right? So once we get here, all we're going to look to do is I'm going to look to set my grip right on the inside of this knee here. Reason I like this is if Norm wants to try to push this hand out here, it gives him some resistance, and if he pushes that, it also moves his leg. Gives me a lot of control of the leg when he goes to move. Because if Norm starts to move this leg in unfriendly or unfamiliar ways, I can start pressing, pinning, pulling, getting it off balance, right? So all we're gonna do is as Norm goes to open up the guard here, boom, I'm gonna set this grip, and I'm either gonna set the kind of hip cup grip that we like, or I'm just gonna cap this hip here. Because all I'm trying to do is control his hip motion. Because if I let Norm's hips just go, bad things are gonna start to happen to me, right? I start to lose the control of the position here. Because Norm has a lot more attacks than I do. So boom, all I'm gonna look to do is here, and I'm gonna pin this to the ground. As soon as I pin it to the ground, I'm going to snap it back as I slice my knee over. Boom. What that's going to allow me to do is put my foot right in the cap of his knee, and I'll spin here in a second, and get this knee planted to the ground. Now, with this knee in front of me, obviously a little bit inconvenient, right? So if there's gi, you can obviously set the different 1,000 grips that you have right here. The only one I don't prefer is a belt grip, because most people can't tie their belt for shit. So grabbing it just sucks. So either, I like where the little curve on your gi jacket is, I like that grip here, or just cupping the hip if you're pajama free. Once you're there, all I'm gonna do is roll that elbow in, clear. I'm gonna look to open his hip up as much as I can with that elbow, bringing that hand back to the hip. Because this does a couple things. One, opens Norm's hips, which is gonna make it a lot easier to pass, but it also makes it a lot harder for him to move. If I have Norm pinned here, my weight's here, my pressure's here. Go to move, Norm.
I'm doing the splits.
Yeah, he's doing a splits, and if they're not flexible, they're doing a splits involuntarily, which I appreciate doing to people. Once we're here, I'm gonna make sure I have at least bicep or head control. I don't care which. If you're passing a little bit lower, you can just go to the bicep. If you wanna pass a little bit higher, scoop the head. For me, I'm gonna look to come here. I'm gonna windshield wiper my feet, and pass that open. So we're here. Boom. Norm's being crafty. He opens those hips up. Boom. I don't like that. I have to start getting some control back. So I set my grips. I'm going to snap this. Boom. To get that to where I'm pinning that here. Once that's here, I use my elbow, clear that, and I use it to open his hips up. I block the bicep, or I scoop the head. My feet windshield wiper over, and clear that leg out of my way. Coming to that side.
This is also keeping me from rehooking that leg.
Yeah. Keeping that hip blocked here, guys, will also stop him from being able to do a lot of, butterfly, half guard, any of kind of stuff where they're going to be trying to get their hips back in. Boom, this stops a lot of that. And can help you turn him to where he's facing away from you at that point, which just makes your life simpler and easier. You can use that hip pressure to turn in as well. Questions on this? We'll walk through it a few more times.
Your right leg, so you're passing to his left side, so your right leg is still in his guard a little bit to start that last stage of passing by. How do you make sure that once you start passing by, when this hips escape and you get his head control, like putting your chest on him, that your right leg, as you start escaping out, he won't pass his left leg back on.
So he's going to try to re-guard with this leg.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that's going to stop that is that elbow pressure in his thigh. So keeping that here, because if he starts to turn those hips into me, I'm keeping that block with that elbow. And that's the nice part about this is it's just keeping his legs open because you're in that kind of weird pressure where one leg can't move, the other leg's going the exact opposite direction you want it to at that point because he wants to be turning into you. So I'm using that lever on with that hip grip to pressure that off so that it keeps his hips open, almost like he's trying to do a butterfly stretch. I'm keeping that pressure there to stop that.
Like, that's something I like to do a lot is grabbing with that outside hook. And with his arm there, I can't get enough flex to get over to get that leg, especially with him hiding it like he is doing the windshield wiper.
Yeah. So it just makes life easier.
What's the trick to actually pushing the leg before him? I feel like when I get there, I can't ever do it.
So the biggest thing here is when I get to here, right? Are you talking about clearing it or
Yeah,
keeping
clearing it.
So the biggest thing is I'm going to push. So for a lot of people, they're going to be trying to manage this distance because they don't want to get smished, right? That's never fun for anyone. But they also don't want to kick me off because if he kicks me off, welcome to the shootout, right? So I don't like it. Most people are just trying to manage this distance. They're not really trying to go anywhere with it. So all I'm going to look to do is I'm going to kind of pressure in, start grabbing something, so that way I can use that push-pull motion to clear that out as much as I can. Now, as soon as I'm here, that's where I have to start blocking, grabbing the cuff of that jacket, grabbing the cuff of those pants. If it's MMA or no gi, you're just cuffing that hip. But using that push-pull, using your elbow, using that hand to clear that knee out. There's a lot of people here, if they're pushing you too far away from them, that's where we're going to sit back into our entrance. If they're letting you just smish them and pass. Like there's not a lot that else happens here. I just crawl and walk past. Life gets simple if they just let you do these things. But most people are going to be just keeping pressure here and trying to get this leg unpinned. So once you're here, I'm going to push into them like, hey, I'm really trying to. Boom, then you're there. Then you're going to have to open those hips. Go back in.
I don't want to get ahead, so if I'm getting ahead, tell me. But I always like to come in and put a wedge on his bottom leg.
Like here?
Yeah, so once I clear, I take my right hand and I wedge the bottom there.
Come in here.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. The only thing I don't like about that is I lose all upper body control.
Okay, even if I'm still up here and I've got gi across the head, under the head. I go under the head and grab the gi.
Like from here?
Yeah.
Or does this hand also get to here?
No, so I go under the head and I grab the gi. And I take this hand
Oh, coming this way?
and I come this way as I pass through.
So,
Just so I can make sure that I can get my knee in and really get my position solid.
I get what you're saying. I don't hate that.
Is that
I don't hate it.
Okay.
The only problem I have with it, it's going to make this regard a lot easier.
okay?
So if I'm here
So you can
and I
circle
switch this hand to block as I come in, I bet you find yourself getting stuck in quarter guard a lot.
No.
His legs are super short.
I do.
have a hard time getting that.
I do this. I don't know if you're gonna go to something else or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to get in the way of something else.
No, that, like I said, biggest thing is keeping control of the hips and legs. So
Okay.
you're not losing much control there. You're trading it to a different position.
Okay.
Any other questions? Driller out. 1, 2, 3. And I like this pass from a lot of areas. Norm opens up his guard. He starts to do unfriendly things. And I just don't like that, right? So I'm still going to be looking to control the legs. But let's say we're no-gi. Let's say I can't get my grip set. What can we do? One of my favorite passes is just a simple weave pass. So our top hand is going to come under his knee and then over his knee. And I'm going to grab that thigh for myself. So I like grabbing thighs. That's my wife. Once we're here, all my weight and all my pressure is going to go right into right below Norm's hip here. So you have that little box where you're on your gi pants. I want it right below that. As I do that, I'm going to sprawl my weight back, and all my weight goes into my knees, and I keep a good wide base here. Now, once we get here, pajamas, you can grab the gi. Pajama free, bicep, wrist. I'm gonna start walking this way, and I'm gonna use my unicorn horn right in the center of his chest, because I want Norm to be uncomfortable here.
That feels good.
I want him to want me to pass. I want him to want me, right? As I do that, I'm gonna start forcing this thigh down and keeping the pressure on that top leg. That's gonna allow me to slide this knee in. As I'm controlling here, come up. As soon as my legs are set, escape the hands, take side control. That way. Boom, I'm here, Norm opens up, I don't like that, boom. This hand weaves, oddly enough, why it's called the weave pass. Here. Boom, I get my weight back and I get my pressure on this leg. As I walk past with my legs back and wide, here, my head pressure goes right into the solar plexus. Couple things that does. One, makes breathing hard, because fuck you. Two, also allows me to control some of his chest motion, because if Norm goes to start pushing my head or moving, I can have just pressure here. Allows me to put good pressure here. Knee comes in. And finish. Questions on this? This is my #1 pass right now. If you're wondering, like, oh, Dustin, how do you pass guard a lot? This is it.
Probably don't, but does it have to be the right knee that comes in when you...
Bottom knee comes in first. So Norm opens this way. I'm going this way, right? Opposite of where I was last time. Boom. I come here. I always want whatever the bottom side knee that's coming to the hip in. Because if I come here and I relieve this pressure, that's going to come, he's going to have time and motion there. So I want to keep all the weight and pressure on him until I have those legs beat. So right here, I have not beat Norm's legs yet, right? Norm can still move his legs, he can still do stuff, right? I don't appreciate any of that. So now I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. His legs are beat now, but I have to keep them beat. Now they're beat for good. Now when that pressure comes off his head and chest and off his hips a little bit because this knee's in, he can go back into me. I'm already here. Like your leg, I've already, you know, you wouldn't know him, you two will remember. Evan Manuel talks about you have to cut people in half when you're passing the guard. I have to beat you and I have to cut you off the hips and below and get past that. And once I'm past that, I don't have to re-engage it. If I do the right things, once I'm in side control, I really don't have to re-engage you or your legs. So that's why that bottom knee comes up. Does that make sense? Other questions on this?
When you're passing, his legs go back and you have to go up higher. What's there? Higher. How do you maintain pressure on your chest doing that?
So boom, I'm here. Just make sure I'm hearing you right. And Norm's being kind of a pain in the ass with his legs, right?
Yeah.
Boom. If I'm here, I'm going to come drop back. I'm not going to arch up because that's going to give his legs more room to move, right? So look at Norm's knees. He can still like windshield wiper his ankles and do things like that with my hips up. So when I'm here, it's smish, walk past, now I'm in. Because the goal is to twist their hips. JJ, our strength conditioning coach, have you ever told us to twist and pick up a big weight and do this, right? No, because you're not strong that way and you're going to hurt your back. So I'm going to twist his spine as much as physically possible. I'm going to twist this hip this way, and I'm going to try to turn his chest and back that way. Because you're just doing this, basically. I'm giving him, you know, the scoliosis treatment as often as I can. Because he's not going to be physically strong there. Nor do you feel like you could just do this? And
That's in any position, though.
Yeah.
It should be twisting.
I'm always trying to twist, manipulate the spine, twist your hips, twist your neck, move something. Because think of all the big powerlifting motions, right? Whether it's bench, clean, all that. First thing you start with is a good solid spine and core, right? You start there and you build from that. So I'm going to break you down from there moving forward. Norm opens. Okay, you don't get to have just a clean spine here. Boom. I got this twisted up, I got this twisted up. Now I'm beating your legs here. Now you're all sorts of not in a good position. And that's going to allow me to come in. Make sense?
with someone with like longer leg than you and stronger than you.
Sprawl first.
Yeah. So on that bar sprawl, if it still feels like that they can get there, so if you twist it out to the post on the opposite hip, so you can't cross.
If this foot can still reach and your hips are on the mat, literally I will go to this point where I pin their foot to the mat. He's going to start trying to roll that ankle here. Clear with your hand.
Then how do you fall up from that flat without losing pressure?
So I'm on here. Remember the Jacare walks we used to do?
Float? Yeah.
Remember those? It's that. It's that motion basically. So really, I don't think we've done warm-up drills in a long time. The Jacare walk is Jacare Souza, who is one of the greatest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners ever. And you're like, oh, Dustin, ever? He then, after winning everything in Jiu-Jitsu that was physically possible, literally everything, he went on to compete in the UFC. You'll remember him from there. They'll call him Jacare. But Jacare, I believe, loosely translates to alligator or crocodile. I forget which one.
Danielle called it wizard.
But he would do this as a warm-up drill, which is how he got his name, because he was using this as a drill. But the goal was to be able to keep that hip pressure and that chest motion low, because he was trying to do it as low to the ground as he could. And he would do that when he entered the UFC ring, and after he won matches, he'd do that. Also, a fun story, if you ever want to watch a dude break his arm, tuck it in his gi, and then still win a world title, Jacare. Really cool match. It's on YouTube. But, so, I'm using that weave pass to hit. Other questions on this? Alright, one more time. Boom, we're here, Norm opens up. I don't like that, boom. Instantly, I go for my weave, bop, kick my weight back. Once I'm here, I start walking past the legs, engage my unicorn horn. Once I'm here, I start kicking that bottom leg back. Knee comes in, head control, clear the hand. Driller out. 1, 2, 3. Boom, we're here. Norm opens. I don't like what's happening, right? Boom. I go for that weave pass. Boom, I go here. But for whatever reason, this leg just eludes me, right? Like you're going to have like the Jordans of the world who are just gangle and just have that weird flexibility and just you can't get past it, right? And you're like, man, what? You sprawl back and it's just still there, right? Boom. Instead of trying to walk into the problem, boom, we're going to walk away from it. This hand, instead of coming up here, is going to reach here. As you walk through, it's going to control this foot because your goal is to plant it. Now, I have this planted with my hand, either grip or just a thigh pin. This planted here. Boom. Slide up. Now, you can either take reverse side, or if you're not a fan of reverse side, boom, come up, side control. Or if they turn all the way, you take their back. You can also do it. Options bar is pretty open as far as where you go. You just have to get that other hand fed through. So we're here, boom, I don't like what's happening. Boom, I get here, and for whatever reason, this is just not in my best interest. Boom, you're gonna pull this here, and I'm trying to plant it to the mat, whether it's there, plant it down and away from you. You've now controlled the legs. Now get past them. Now, for those of you who know it, leg drag, available. Reverse side, available. If they start coming up to their knees here and turning into you, or turning away from you, bop. Take the back. Options bar is wide, take what's available. Questions on this one? Same pass, same everything else. You're just changing.
When you grab that, does it matter if you're here?
No thumbs. Realize very rarely will you ever grip with thumbs in jiu-jitsu. Because if Norm drags his heel back real hard here, all he does is break my thumb. And if you're like, oh, how common is that? I've seen it, it's very violent, and I watched this come out. It's not great. The only times I've ever hurt my hands in jiu-jitsu were that. Other questions on this? Like I said, all you're waiting for is Boom, he opens. I'm still gonna try to walk this way. And what I like to do normally is, I'll just reach here. Bop. Here. Because I'm gonna act like, oh, I promise you, I'm trying to walk this way. You know, we talk about it all the time. It's up close magic. It's misdirection. It's push and then pull. It's this and then that. Walking this way. The second he really commits to that, boom, you clear that ankle.
So when you have like pretty much in that stage when you have like one hand here and one hand goes in here, since you on his left leg, if instead of trying to drive it back, you just drive it forward and then force, are you? Does he?
So boom, he goes to open and come to that here.
Yeah.
He's got to beat your head, back, and shoulders. And if he really starts to commit to that, leg drag. Because he won't be able to clear you past that way, because then he's got to beat your arm. So yes, can they start to try to really like invert and come back that way? Yes, the problem they're going to run into is, even if you don't have the good grips, right? Like let's just say my pressure's off and he goes to open this leg here, boom. Back out. Worst case scenario. Now you're just not in guard. You know, the options bar opens back up again. But 9 times out of 10, even just a little bit of hand pressure here, he goes to open that leg up. Go ahead, you can kick that up if you want, but options are going to be there. But worst case scenario, you stand up and now you're in, you know, standing guard pass, triangle, all the different stuff there. Not particularly. So for me, I'm generally going to monkey grip a lot of stuff. The only time I'm really going to set hard gi grips if I'm trying to pin something. Hey, you don't get to move. When I have a gi, I'm going to pin it, but otherwise I'm monkey palming everything.
Does that leg drag score anything?
No. So, scoring wise, nothing, but you score pretty quickly out of it because people panic. So if I'm in leg drag, he either has to go to his belly and give me his back, he has to try to flatten his shoulders and give me mount, or he has to give me his ankles. Like the options bar for him is not open. Yeah.
So you're saying the options, once you make your way back around, are either that knee or falling into the...
Into reverse side, or to come back just to traditional side. So I will, depending on what I'm up to, I like leg drag quite a bit, so I may come here. But if I'm trying to get to mount quickly, all I'm going to do, I'm going to come to that reverse side, and then Norm's going to turn really hard into me, and I'm going to go up, single. You know, kind of like back step, overstep drill. Same concept, you just don't have to back step because you're walking that way already. So, it does not score to go to leg drag, but it's a good position. Other questions, guys?
Going with what he says, if you get stuck going to leg drag, all you have to do is clear the leg and then keep it pinned, and then go straight back to leg drag at your points, correct?
Yes, you can go to side and then go back to leg drag if you want the 3. So
You have to clear the leg to get to the points.
yeah, so it all depends. It's all a variable. I more worry about getting to dominant positions. The points will eventually sort themselves out. All right, 1, 2, 3.